Go read Jay-Z's Decoded. It was one of the required readings in my class. Now it's a suggested reading, but the first verse require you have to read Decoded. If you read Jay-Z, he went to school. He went to school.
True. Yeah.
But he honed his rap skills in a very intentional, very deliberate, very structured way. And he trained himself to, when he went into the studio, he didn't waste no time. Right? He could rap over. He knew the beats that he couldn't rap over. And then he learned how to rap over the beats that he couldn't. Right?
That's true. Yeah.
His skills against certain things. He knew how to craft things. I remember when me and him did Pressure. Jay-Z don't like to hook for Pressure. I'm gonna just put that out there.
Even rock with it.
When we did Pressure, no rock with it, pun intended. He was like,
"Hey, was you nervous knowing that you're gonna be on the same song with Jay-Z?" Sidebars.
No, I've been around Jay-Z since I was 19 at that point, so I'm used to that.
Salute. Yeah.
But hold on, I'll land on this. He was like, yeah. When he laid his verses, it didn't have a chorus. We put a chorus on it, we sent it, and we put it out. He hit me. It was like, yo, he hit us and was like, he hit me. I think he hit me. He was like, yo. We went to the studio and I seen him. He's like, yo, you know I do hooks, right?
Yeah. Right.
Like, yo, if I could have, like refined it, I could have put my skill set on top of it and made it a little bit better. So I think I think there's something to creating a pipeline for rappers specifically. And the hip hop, the Peabody degree, it's hip hop producers, it's turntablism, it's beatboxing, it's everything musically. And so they can call it a hip hop degree because it covers multiple bases. They also have a dance. I think they're going to introduce a dance component maybe later because there's a dance component at the Peabody as well. But it's the initial offering, I don't think. But I'm consulting on it, so I'll tell them like, hey, we're going to do a dance, as well as kind of graffiti in some capacity. So it covers the range of hip hop production, rapping with myself, beatboxing, turntablism, and the guys and gals that are going to be coming in after me. In the announcements, when you realize like, oh, who's teaching the turntable class? It's gonna be somebody like, oh, or who's teaching the beatbox class? Oh shit, they got such and such. Oh my god, right? So it's not some like,
right. But that's what I was agreeing with, though. I was saying we should have people that's from the culture. I was saying like, or else we're gonna get some strangers. Like we know Lupe. Like we don't have to know you personally. But what I mean is you have built up a reputation in hip hop. You have your catalog. You have your history. We know Lupe to a sense, so I can trust Lupe's expertise in this area versus just somebody that we don't even know at all.
Right.
He coming in here.
And right.
You know what I mean?
And let me ask this question, Lupe. We talked about AI and the convergence of AI and hip hop a little bit early in the show. Tell the audience what Endless Loop is and where do you see how the community, the hip hop space fits in with the AI, the convergence of AI, and tell us more about Endless Loop.
All right, this is gonna explode. I will cap off that last piece. I would love to be doing something else, meaning that I don't want to teach at all these schools. I want other rappers to teach at these schools. I want such and such to teach here, right? I would rather in names, but I want such and such to teach here. That's the reason we started Sosa, right? It's like equip rappers with the ability to do anything, not just rap, but take your skill, put it in a classroom, put it in a film, put it at an engineering firm, put it at an architecture firm. Like you can add value with the way you think because rapping is the way you think, less about what like the linguistic part is. Cognitive part, and that's valuable, and that's what you have an advantage over other people who don't think like you do, and that's some. So I would love to like set the tone at Peabody for a year, and then move out the way so Absol can come in and teach it. IT, you know what I'm saying? And so, and then we proof it at Peabody. Now we need somebody at UCLA, and it's no knock to like professors who aren't rappers, but I'm talking about note in our field. Like from like rapper who Rascast, should be teaching at UC Berkeley.
No doubt.
Or I I'm I'm not gonna say it because I don't
Yeah,
want to
I know
get
what you mean. I know what you mean. Yeah.
Ghostface Killer should be at NYU teaching,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
So
Right.
trust me, I'm just like here because the opportunities are there, and I'm definitely gonna take them. But just know I also want this to be a legacy thing, and I want it to be passed. And I can't take all the jobs. I'm teaching at
Right.
two schools, but I would love people to come in and like you do it, but also have a space where it's like here's what they expect. Hey y'all, I went through it. Here's what they expect. Right?
Right.
Here's
Right. Right. Mm-hmm.
right. It can't
Uh-huh.
just be no going in and rap shit. It has to have some type of undertone and underpinning. That's something we impressed upon all the members of Sosa. So that's why
Yeah.
Pendulum Inc. shaped the way it is, and even D1 teaching at Tufts, the way he teaches, it's like,
Right.
hey, make sure that when we hit and the things that we're doing, that it has a base beyond just like some creative bullshit. All right,
Which is
to
needed.
your
Yeah.
point about technology. So the theme of my class, so the title of my class is Rap Theory and Practice. This is at MIT. The theme of the class is for every creative decision, there's a technological response.
Mm.
Hmm.
And for every technological decision, there's a creative response, right?
True.
This
Got it.
thing is just pure creativity without technology. And I pose that I challenge my students, I challenge you all. You can't point to me to any craft that doesn't have a technological component.
That's true. I mean, I would have to agree with that. I mean, because we're using the tools of at our disposal, no matter what, as we're being creative. So
Right?
yeah.
And
Mhm.
you can either choose to or choose not to have an awareness and understanding and working relationship with those tools.
Right.
So let's keep it rap. I talked about it in the comments, and you brought it up too, like pen versus pencil. That's what
Yes.
that was like one of the first things that I wrote in the Sosa Field manual, right? Which is like, here's a book for rappers to just take and go, and it has everything you need, right? It's based off a book called The Artist Handbook, which I'm looking at right now on my desk, which is about painting. But the guy who wrote it is a chemist,
Oh, okay.
right? So he
Yeah.
was able painting through the lens of all of its constituent components and all of its technologies that apply to it. And it empowers artists with the ability to understand like their craft is made up of all these little individual micros, and that this gives you the ability to go in and tweak it just a little bit. Because it's not about big changes, it's about little tweaks here, little tweak there, little tweak here, little adjustment here, a little bit of this, right? To even when you talk about like colors, so you add a little bit of white, you'll get this. You add a little bit more white, you'll get this. You add too much white, you add a little bit of black to get this. To so it's those little things, but it's really you're mixing chemicals, right? So
Right.
keep it rap. There's a difference between pencil writing with a pen and not writing at all, right?
Right.
If you write
True.
with a pencil is a technology, right? It
Yeah.
was something invented. It's not something that was natural. Pencils don't grow out of the ground, right?
Pardon me. I was responding to somebody in the comments. Pardon me. Go ahead.
Good.
Yeah.
A pen is a further development of that technology, but it comes with some pros and some cons, right? And we talk about just writing. Writing
Uh,
is a tech. The act of writing is a technology, right? It's something to be trained, right? It has a certain set of constraints and rules, right? And you actually need something else to do it, right? I mean, you could use your
right.
finger, medium, to do it. You need some sand.
To capture it. To capture it on. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It needs to be recorded, right? But sand can get blown away, so let's write it in clay, right? Or let's write it in stone, or now let's write it in steel, or let's write it in ones and zeros. So
Right.
you could use a pen. Pen has its constraints. You can't erase.
Mm-hmm.
So you're gonna think a little bit deeper before you write versus a pencil.
Right.
And pencil's a little bit messier, right? Like the
Mm-hmm.
actual fight of it, it looks a little messier. So it's less elegant. So there's a different aesthetic that's happening when you write with pencils and pens. When you choose
Right.
between these two, if you choose to not write at all, then you have to kind of be like, either everything I'm going to do is be freestyled, or I'm going to have to record it in some capacity. Now I'm going to have a relationship to recording software and recording equipment that's more expensive, right? That's less, right? Now I can't really think about like raps all day, right? I have to be very like specific when I'm thinking about them, and I need to be close to a studio, so I go right, and then I do everything off the top of the dome, because there's no way you're going to be able to record it. There's no way you're going to be able to remember all of those verses like that, right? That you went through thinking about. So there's disadvantages to all of those, but they're all based on technology. One of the first that I was thinking about having my students do it like first day of class, but it's a little crazy. But I think I might do it coming up, maybe at the Peabody or something like that. Well, we have MIT can make everything. We got a glass blowing shop. We got a blacksmith in the basement.
Hey, I want to come visit MIT, man. Low key. I know you said before, if someone wants to come up here and talk to me, just come up here. When I heard that, I was like, I want to go up
Yeah.
there, man. You know what I
Well,
mean?
MIT is an open campus, so I don't even need to be there. You can just go in there and walk around. Like it's not. They lock it after a certain time,
Right.
like 5. But like during the day, you can walk in, you can peek in labs, you can go sit in classrooms, do
Yeah.
all.
No, I got a friend in Boston, and he's been to the campus. He's been, all around colleges, and it's a couple people I just want to go see what's going on. You know what I mean?
It's a vibe. It's a big high school. Unless you know what's going on, you're gonna be lost. But come on up, vibe, right?
Yeah, for
Um,
sure.
but one of the things I was gonna have my students do, and it's all of what I'm saying right now is to impress upon people like your relationship to technology that you might be taking for granted, that you might not be aware of, and how intimate technology and, I don't want to say hip hop, but I have to say hip hop, but technology and hip hop really is,
Got
right?
it. Mm-hmm.
So at my students, the first thing that they came in class is like, no, we're not finna write no raps. We're not finna freestyle. I don't care who your favorite rapper is. What we finna do is go into the basement of MIT, and there's a paper making class. There's one who teaches people how to make paper, papyrus, and all these different things, right? Because again, MIT makes every technology. Massachusetts Institute of Technology, all technologies,
Wow.
blacksmiths.
Wow.
And so
Man.
she like this paper making class from scratch. And I was gonna have my students make, like, in order to take the class, you have to make everything that you need for the class.
Wow.
That includes the paper,
Fire.
that includes the pencil that includes the writing utensil, right? That includes ink that you need to dip the feather in.
That's fire.
And lo and behold,
Yeah.
my students are so smart. I'm like, now you need to build a microphone. They'll build that shit. They'll make it.
Right. Show
But
up with a
starting
brand new mic.
base level,
Right.
it's a technology to that. What are the materials you need? Right? What is the proper mixture of those different materials? How long does it take to cure the paper?
Mm.
Um, how much what am I thinking about? What's the like the techniques to actually create it, to like make it, right? Like what are all the resources you need? How long it's gonna take? And then at the end of all that process, it takes about 17 hours to make a piece of paper from scratch, right?
Mm.
By, because it needs to dry, it needs to be pressed, it needs to be cut, there's all these other things that need to happen.
Mm.
Then you get your writing utensil, whatever that may be, a feather, a quill, and some ink. You might get some graphite, just raw carbon graphite. That's
You quill. You know what I
Some dirt.
mean?
Smudge it on some paper, some dirt.
so here we go. Here we go. Now let's get creative. We've done our technological act.
Right.
Now what's the creative response? What are you
Mm.
gonna?
Well, that's fire, man. You know what I mean? And
Because guess what? You
yeah,
only got a piece of paper.
one piece of paper. Okay. I
What you finna write?
I'm gonna write the script to Drogas Waves. So when
Hey,
you go back to Broadway and you
stop,
have the script for
stop.
the Longshanks,
Long chain.
that's what I'm gonna try to write, Lupe.
I already wrote that. I already wrote and recorded that on the low.
No, no,
go.
I gotta add my piece. Even if you don't use it, just I don't know, keep it and put it in a drawer. I don't know.
No, this
You know?
isn't. I'm not being funny. I'm treating you. I'm treating it like you in my class. What are you gonna
Right.
write?
Okay. If it's my
It's
one
got,
piece of
it's
paper,
got to be something
I'm
important.
going
It's
in.
got to be something critically
Yeah.
important. I don't got time to bullshit. I got to write something critically important.
Right. What you
Right.
say? What you say? One more time for the class.
I said I only got one piece of paper. I can't bullshit. I got to write something critically important. It's got to be
Right.
something. It's got one piece of paper. I got to write something that's gonna be meaningful. I got to.
Facts.
Right. It's gonna be the verse of your life.
Facts. Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. You're gonna sit and think about. It took me if I fuck up, it's gonna take me 17 hours
Because I got to
to
start
Bro.
do.
the shit. I got to start the process all over again. I got to make the paper again. I got to do everything over from scratch. So I might as well make this my last one, my next one, my best one.
Right.
Right.
So
Yep.
just imagine what you gain from that level of scarcity. And again, this is the creative response to the "You Are Done" the technological act.
Mm.
And here's the things that come out when you got one piece of paper and only a little bit of graphite or a little bit of ink that you was able to make. Right.
Right.
Fast forward that to our reality. To like when we first started rapping. Right. You had endless amounts of paper,
True.
Right.
endless amounts
Notebooks.
of pens, and the recording utility. You had no relationship to the tech, to the like creative process of the actual materials.
Right.
What you wrote.
Right. No, I mean you're right. Yeah.
Guess what is right? A bunch of bullshit. And then it,
Right. Lupe, like y'all been writing some bullshit.
You
Hey,
ball that
you're
shit up.
right
You
though.
would ball it up and
You're right.
play. Act like you was Kobe or Jordan shooting them shits in the
Yeah.
trash.
You're
listen,
not really tripping because you got endless paper.
because
Right.
you got endless material, right?
Right. Yep.
Endless, right? But look at the way the technology increased the quantity, and then what happened to the quality,
Mm,
Decreased.
that's true.
right?
True.
Those are the and the micros that I turn in my class with my
Mm,
students. So it get real serious real quick, because then we take that over to let's apply it to turntables, right?
mm,
Let's apply it to this is a lesson that Wendell Patrick, who's the head of the department, the hip hop department at Peabody, and professors. You'll see patterns of this with professors. They like, how are you going to operate within scarcity? And it's really your relationship to scarcity that is more important than, and I'm gonna just say this bluntly, than you knowing the history of hip hop.
No, I see what
Right?
you mean though. I see what you mean. Yeah.
Mm.
In the process of creating your art. Yes. Right.
He has he teach so when you go he came into Johns Hopkins. You should all check out Wendell Patrick. He's amazing, right? Classical pianist, jazz pianist, turned all that to hip hop. Teaches the hip hop, like the first hip hop production class at Peabody, which sounds like, oh, this, but Peabody is one of the most prestigious classical kind of institutions in the world. And you got this guy coming in talking about often to teach a course on beat making, and it becomes like popular class at the school, right?
Yes.
Um, he teaches hip hop production, but you have to start producing on like a SP 1200,
Mm.
Mm.
right?
Okay.
And with
That would be dope though. SP 1200. I'll take it.
right with an SP 1200,
Yeah.
you only have like 1.5 seconds of sample time,
Yeah.
Mm.
right?
Yeah.
You got no
So you
time
ain't
to waste.
yeah you ain't got you know unlimited sample time, loop a
True.
whole beat, get a whole one shot. Like, no, you can grab that drum, like literally that drum. Now you ain't got time for the loop,
That drum. Right.
that snare, or that, yeah, or that whatever fills in, and then you only have so much outputs.
Mm.
So you ain't like, so you got to do that once, then delete it. Then you got to do the next thing, right?
Right.
But get the thing that you're sampling from the turntables into the SP12.
Mm.
right?
True.
But what
This is true.
with that 1 second sample?
Yeah. It's like it's a constraint. You know what I mean? And what Mickey, he was like, write with constraint. Like, what can you not do? You know what I mean? With a topic, and that forces you to think around. Like one time he was like, write a verse, but don't use the letter E. And I'm like, how the hell am I gonna do that? Like, so
Yeah.
I'm writing the verse. Now I gotta stop in between every word to make sure there's no E in the word. And by the time I got to the end of that 16, it was work because it's a scarcity of what I could use. You know what I mean?
So he gets that from Sosa. He learned that at Sosa. So that's
Hey,
that,
salute. Yeah.
that's application process at Sosa. So when you come
Ah,
into give you a piece of text and ask you what do you notice about this text, and
mm,
majority of people fail, and it comes from a book. There's a guy who wrote a book called Avoid, and the book Avoid is like, I mean, it's a whole book,
no
and it's
letter E.
no letter E. That's the first layer.
Mm,
What's the book about?
I don't know. I
Make
read
sure to turn.
metaphors we live by, though. I read that.
Yeah,
You know?
that's all that's Sosa. All that he gets
I
all that
know
from Sosa.
that's why I read it.
So what is the book Avoid about?
I don't know. Avoiding the letter E.
Right. The story of the book is how the letter E went missing.
Mm,
Interesting.
It's not just this one like cute kind of like constraint. It has
right.
to be, and it's like, oh, the book is about how the letter E went missing. Here's
Wow.
the here's another layer. Every chapter in the book is the detective guy's like kind of interviewing people, and he's like, what's going on? Like something's wrong with this story. We need to
Right.
figure it out. And every character that gets close to recognizing that the letter E is missing from the story dies.